I was bribed. I was bribed with a loving family, warm food, sleeping under the stars, and the satisfaction of a job well done. But I realized as I lay in the tall, wet grass, dehydrated, delirious, drenched and starving next to my sister, that this was not what I signed up for. But my sister wouldn't go on trek unless I did. So as someone with celiac disease, I made sure that I sat down with the trek organizer to discuss each alternate meal that I would have to plan. And I was so comforted knowing that I would have broth full of warm electrolytes, chicken stew stocked with vegetables, and oatmeal smothered in brown sugar. I prepared for trek for months. I trained, I studied pioneer stories. I was the one who did the illustration for the trek t-shirts. I bought all new camping gear to prepare for every possible outcome. I packed extra layers, I packed the straw hat my mom gave me, I packed specialized hiking socks, and I got a whole new set of camping dinnerware, and I especially remembered to pack my personalized food cooler. I went to bed feeling peaceful about the trek experience that I was going to have. Because after all, one who volunteers to be a big sister on trek must have some level of authority in tough situations. But then as I was drifting off to sleep, I had one last thought. This isn't going to go well. The next morning, my parents gave my sister and I one last final pep talk about how fun trek was going to be. And then they took a photo of us to post on social media. Aw, look how happy we are. And then I first started to get very worried when my sister began dry heaving her nerves out the side of the car. But me, being the older sister, I just smiled and waved and watched my parents' car fade into oblivion, surrounded by a bunch of hopeful youth, a bunch of hopeful, naive little youth. But it's okay, because to put my mind at ease, the stake president sat us down to bake in the sun for 3 hours as he began to explain to us that he wouldn't allow any of our trek parents to help us push our hand carts, and to not complain because none of us have ever felt what true starving feels like. And then he got in his air-conditioned car and drove away. At this point, I had to take matters into my own hands. So I instantly befriended the woman in charge of food. Until that woman took my personalized food cooler to a safe location. So I tried to reassure my sister of the situation by pointing out the cute hand carts. And they were cute. Kind of a homemade cute. Like popsicle sticks made with craft glue at the art store kind of cute. But I did feel comforted being assigned to a family where my trek pa was a doctor and my trek ma was pretty much a saint. My comfort was crushed when our handcart was the first to flatten, and along with it went my gear, my family, my water supply, my will to live. And there I was, a trek orphan, adopted unwillingly by a family who did not see me as their child nor their responsibility, and as a result I was given the least amount of water to conserve their water supply. And then the last memento I had of my mother along the journey, my brand new white straw hat, was crushed under the wheels of a handcart until that too became the 6th out of 12 cute handmade handcarts to now be cute shards of wood in the grass. Alas, I saw flat ground that weaved in between the hills, and as a group we all sighed and exclaimed, "Oh, have mercy, it's flat ground." To which the leaders responded, "Your ancestors never had flat ground." So we continued to trek through the seeded fields that illuminated roaring allergies that we didn't even know we had in the first place. By the time even the sun gave up shining for us in the sky, each passing hour had me one step closer to dinner. And at 11 p.m., everyone ate. By the time the woman in charge of my food showed up at 1 a.m., I ate. My almond butter sandwiches were squished, my dried fruit had melted out of the Ziplocs, and my canned peaches were so dented that I couldn't even open them. So I just had one question. What was this woman doing with my food cooler? But at least I had the warm broth full of electrolytes, right? As the steak president showed up in the dead of night to serve our warm broth, I go up to him with my Trek mug and I meekly ask, "Excuse me, sir, but is this the gluten-free broth that I was promised?" Without hesitation, he just poured the glutinous liquid in my only mug for water and said, "Oh, I'm not sure, but you're hungry enough, aren't you?" So I plumped myself down on the grass with a bun in one hand, a mug full of gluten in the other, and an autoimmune disease that prohibited the consumption of all the above. I gave my soup away, I cried in the outhouse, and I buried myself deep within the tall grass next to my sister, not wanting to wake up, watching all the mosquitoes float around my face, like the night stars that I was bribed into seeing. The next time I volunteer for something, I'm doing it in pencil.